Alrighty, guys, let's go ahead and dive right on into today's episode. So, we're going to be building a carbon dust and carbon mesh factory. To get started, you're going to need 60 copper ingots and 120 coal ores. So, to get the copper, we've got 60 copper ore per minute coming in and being smelted into ingots. And then for our coal, we've got our 120 coal per minute coming in on this belt here. So, you need a tier 1 belt for the copper ingots, tier 2 belt for the coal ore. We're using the Buildable Resource Nodes mod in order to get these resources into this part of the factory. So if you're not playing with that, you're going to have to bring in those amount of resources over to this part of your factory. We're going to start off by placing 4 constructors. These are all going to be used to build wire with our copper ingots, as that is one of the required materials to build carbon mesh. And then we're going to place some more constructors to build carbon dust, which is the other required input for carbon mesh. Now, the reason why we're doing this is in order to play with Refined Power's modular power plants, you do need a little bit of carbon mesh in order to build the CO2 chimney, as well as the steam cooling tower, and I believe the cooling platforms also may require the carbon mesh. I don't recall on that. Either way, you need some carbon mesh in order to play with that mod if you're going to do the modular power plant. So I figured, why not just build a factory for it? Worst comes to worst, you can always just put the output of these boxes into your resource sink and get some awesome shop tickets, because the carbon mesh in particular should be a fairly high value item in that, I would think, because it's an assembler recipe. Normally assembler recipe stuff in that awesome sink is worth quite a bit more than constructor recipe stuff. But we're just going to use a Mark 1 belt to connect these 2 splitters. This is dirty splitting, so this is not perfect ratio, but it'll get the job done because all of the inputs are taking the same. So I think this will work good enough for what we're trying to do. It's not like we need a whole mess of these meshes, but we want this system to be reasonably reliable in producing the meshes for us consistent, to always have meshes in the cargo box. So I'm going to try to map out the assembler. So I think I could place it like this, maybe. That might make sense. And we're going to do carbon mesh. So we need 80 wires and 40 carbon dust in order to run one of these. So we've got 30 times 4 is 120. So we have 40 extra. Okay. There's smoke. All right, we're taking damage. That's fine. Not a big deal. Maybe let's try to bring this in just a little bit closer together, make it more compact. Because I don't want to, at some point I'm going to probably run through this part of the factory thinking, oh, it's fine, there's stuff here, I'll be safe, and then I'll take damage because, yeah. I can blow those up later once we get explosives unlocked, but I don't have that quite yet. I need to get more sulfur, I think, is what's preventing me on that one. But no big deal. We're going to go ahead and set up the mergers to connect our wires together. So from this merger, it has to be a Mark II belt because it's going to have 90 wire coming in or going out, right? So these 3 are each putting 30 into this merger. So the output from this merger is 90. A regular tier 1 belt can only transport up to 60 items per minute. So we need a Mark II belt. And basically all the belts in front of this, outside of the one connecting the 4th wire constructor to the merger, need to be Mark II belts. Otherwise, it will not handle the throughput that we need in order to supply the factory properly. So that, I placed that as Mark 1. I did that wrong. I'm fixing that there. Make sure it's Mark II. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. There we go. Go ahead and connect up the rest of these constructors. Easy peasy. Not a big deal. So we're ready to go on our wires. So we are halfway through this factory build. Easy enough. Not too bad, not too bad. I think I'm going to move this. Let's actually maybe put it up here and have it at the entrance of the factory. I kind of like that. We'll do something like this. We'll set it back to carbon mesh. Cool. And we'll just go ahead and connect this with the Mark II belt because why not? I'm trying to be I try to make things look good sometimes, and then I get impatient and just finish it because you can finish it without making it look super amazing. But that's fine. So we got our wires going into our assembler. Perfect. We are ready. Now we need to make our carbon dust in order to finish our carbon mesh factory. Now, I don't actually know what this recipe requires. So it's 40 coal per minute to make 100 dust. Oh, wow. Okay. So we can do 3 constructors, and that will get us 300 dust. Uh, that's quite a bit, actually. So, okay. Fine. We don't even need one of those constructors to run this assembler. Um, all right. Well, fine. That's fine. Not a big deal. We're going to build it anyway. And I guess we'll just box the carbon dust. Maybe it's used for something else later on in the mod or meaning refined power. I don't know if it actually is, but whatever. We're going to have it anyway because it's easier to build a factory for this stuff. That way I don't have to constantly go back to the hub or an equipment bench or whatever to make random component parts while I'm building my factory. I can just go to a box, pick up the parts that I need, and go from there. But anyway, here we go. We bring our coal into a splitter, just like that. And then basically what we're going to do, place 3 constructors, set the recipes to carbon dust, and put this coal ore in the back, and then we'll deal with the output. So I'm trying to give them a little bit of space here. I don't know if that's actually going to be helpful in the logistics or not, but that's what we're going to do. Doesn't really matter. Probably not going to build much more on this platform since we do have that potential of taking damage. If I move, cool, we'll get that one connected, and that one connected. Cool. Inputs are done. Easy peasy. Now we're going to power them up just so that portion is done, because that's really the only other part of this where we need to kind of like touch the machines. Well, I guess when we put the output belts, we'll have to as well. That's fine. No worries. We'll go ahead and connect this stuff. Get our power done. Awesome. So those are making carbon dust for us now. Amazing. Now we need to figure out how we're going to handle the output. So really a Mark II belt would handle 2 of these factories. I have to use a Mark II belt to handle the output of these factories individually because they're doing 100, which is 40 more than a Mark I belt can transport. So that's fine. We're just going to go ahead and bring all these over so I don't have to constantly take damage. That's the idea anyway. We'll see if we can make it work in practice. Cool. There we go. All right. I need some more refined or reinforced iron plates so I can finish building our Mark II belt into our assembler so we can get our carbon meshes going. I think I still need to connect that assembler to power. We'll deal with that in a minute. Let's finish getting the belts done. So basically, we're going to take one of these belts and we're going to feed it directly into the factory, or the assembler right here. It's not a factory, it's an assembler. Sorry. There we go. Put it into the input box. If you can hit it. There we go. Awesome. This is going to get its own dedicated power pole for funsies, and we're going to connect this into our grid. This one. Awesome. And now this should be making mesh. Or, well, it'll input the items, then start making mesh. Cool enough. So we've got our carbon mesh assembler going. Awesome. We're not going to make a whole lot a minute, but we don't really need it. Basically, what I'm going to do here is make some cargo boxes so I can store the excess carbon dust and the carbon mesh. I don't want to put them here. I want to be able to walk through there. We'll put them to the side of this assembler, maybe. Yeah, we'll do something like this. So it's like the front of this section of the factory is where you get the items from. That makes sense. So we'll have 2 for the carbon dust, and we'll just feed each of these belts in directly, and then we'll put the carbon mesh into the box on its own. I think is how we're going to do this, and it should be pretty good. It'll work. I mean, we're going to have a lot of carbon dust that hopefully will have a use. If it doesn't, I mean, really, this is just excess storage for fun. I guess we could potentially put an awesome sink over here and just get tickets galore from our carbon dust. I don't know. I don't know if that's really worth it or not, but mainly because the awesome sink takes power to run. Outside of that, though, we got the factory all finished. So we've got carbon dust, we've got carbon mesh fully automated, so we can progress on with our modular power plant build over yonder. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe as always. And until next time, this has been Lone Debater 7, and we will see ya!